I'm going to do a video on how I do my sport seam finishing, and I'm going to be doing it on a black lycra spandex fabric with white thread so you can see it a little bit better than my previous videos. We're going to be using the number 2 stitch on my machine, which is the triple stretch stitch, which goes 2 stitches forward, 1 stitch back. Start by doing a lock stitch. And I'm going to increase the stitch length to 3. Doing about a 3/8 of an inch or so seam allowance. This is the construction seam. Now I go to the front of the fabric and I press the seam allowances to one side. I pressed them to the right side. Now I'm going to put this under my foot here, and I'm going to line up the seam here with the inner edge of the presser foot. Then I'm going to switch over to stitch the honeycomb stitch. I'm going to be using a width of 7 millimeters and a length of 2.5 millimeters. And I'm using the inside edge of the presser foot as the guide and keeping the seam allowance lined up with that. I like using a decorative top stitch on my sport wear and my active wear. It gives a lot of extra strength and still has some stretch to it. And it kind of gives the look of the popular reverse cover stitch from a few feet away. Now I normally do this stitch with a complementary or a matching fabric or thread to the fabric, but for the video I'm using a contrasting. As you can see, there's still lots of stretch to the stitch, similar to the fabric. This is the front view of it. Here's the interior view of it. Now if I did a little over 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, if you use slightly under 3/8, the decorative cover stitch will cover all of the raw edges. I'll do that on my next example.